It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Friday. We got a good Friday show for you all today. So, you know what? We're actually going to be taking a little bit of time off impeachment and talk about some other stuff. Of course, we're going to check in on Be Best, Melania Trump. We're going to see what happens there. How's she doing? How's Melania adjusting to life outside the White House? Ah, yes, of course. The very person you wanted to check in on, of course. So we're going to be talking about that. We've got Nikki Haley that is once again trying to save her own ass. I'm going to explain that. We then are going to talk about the My Pillow guy and make fun of him. That's fun. He was recently talking with Steve Bannon, and it did not go well. It went very poorly. Then, of course, we're going to switch gears here, and we are going to talk about the allegations against Andrew Cuomo and the deaths related to COVID-19 at the nursing homes. Massive report on that. And then we're going to talk about Betsy DeVos. It appears that the Biden administration is defending Betsy DeVos in the lawsuit against the Department of Education. It's really disgusting. Quite a story. We're going to get into it and why the Biden administration would be doing such things. All right. So that said, let's dive into it. Before we do, please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you help out with that. Helps out the show greatly. Gets more people to see it, of course. And so that's always good. Super chats and also all the subs and stuff on Twitch. Granny Dragon, by the way, subscribed for 4 months at tier one sub. Thank you so much, Granny Dragon. She's also one of our wonderful mods over on Twitch. So thank you so much for keeping the chat room clear of trolls. Much appreciation to you, Granny Dragon. And thank you to all of you who are watching on Twitch as well. And YouTube and Facebook. All right. Now, let's do it. With the Trumps all settled back at Mar-a-Lago, at least for the time being, of course, until Palm Beach decides if it's actually going to kick out a former president or not, CNN decided to check in on the former First Lady. How's she doing? What's going on? Just to see, of course, how she's doing as her husband gets impeached for an unprecedented second time for inciting a Capitol insurrection. So now, while Trump we know how he's been doing. He has been absolutely raging at his inept defense, which has basically been like, whataboutism, and you can't really go after the president and go along with the president and impeach him. Eh. Well, she's actually been enjoying some of her time out of the limelight, save for, of course, one thing. Now, according to reporter Caitlin Bennett, the former First Lady reportedly has felt a little, quote, bitter and chilly, bitter man, about how the couple had left the White House very unceremoniously, feeling the controversy he created actually hurt her reputation even further. Now, to be fair, of course, Melania's reputation over the last 4 years has pretty much went down the crapper for obvious reasons if you actually paid attention to the last 4 years, if not longer. But okay, it's not just that. It also appears that the former First Lady is a little jelly at Jill Biden. Huh. Interesting. So now, Bennett writes that Trump's most fervent ires come from watching Jill Biden kick off her East Wing tenure on nearly the antithesis of the path Trump took, meaning she's, of course, getting favorable media coverage. Biden moved into the White House right away, for starters, and had staff hired and flashed out within 2 weeks of the inauguration, compared, of course, to Melania, who remained in New York for the first 5 months of the administration, ostensibly to let her son Barron finish up the school year. She never had more than 12 people on her White House staff, and at times there were as few as 7, Bennett reported. So now, okay, here's the thing about that, right? I don't think most of us care at all that she took extra time to move into the White House. I know there were, of course, the rumors that were going around like, oh, she doesn't actually like Donald Trump. I don't know if she does. I don't know if she doesn't. It seemed to me that every time she had a little bit of joy, it was immediately crushed by her husband. And, you know, it kind of makes me think that she's just like one of those Stepford, like trophy wives for Donald Trump. And that I think, personally, she's maybe waiting for him to die so she gets whatever money he might have left. I mean, that's just me. I don't know if that's true or not. But that's just my read of the situation. But, okay, look, not moving to the White House, though, to let Barron finish the schooling is totally fine. Totally understandable, right? You don't want to uproot the kid. He's literally done nothing wrong. Leave the poor kid alone, right? And if he wants to finish school in where he's been, going to school before, that's totally fine. Right? Now, the staff thing, though, is pretty interesting. So when she gets there, she decides not to hire a big staff. Well, now, that's kind of indicative of how much you actually plan to do. Like, how much you plan to do once you get into the office. Because here's the thing about being the First Lady. It ain't just a title, okay? It's actually a job in itself. It's unofficial, official. And so people have certain expectations of, and whether it's unfair or not, you can have a discussion on that, but they have certain expectations of a First Lady, right? That she's supposed to do something. She's supposed to headline a program, have sort of an agenda herself. Michelle Obama, for example, her agenda was fitness and nutrition for children. Hey, that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I thought that was a great program. And that, Michelle Obama, let's move, and we're gonna get the kids healthy, and they're gonna eat better lunches, and all that stuff. That's nothing wrong with that. Now, Melania, she gets in the White House, and let's be honest, I don't think she even gave a crap about, doing any sort of First Lady duties, right? Because honestly, I don't believe that I believe that she didn't think that her husband was going to win in 2016. I think she was like, oh, Donald, you are not going to win, and so, but it's okay because it will help business and we will get more money. Okay, all right. And then when he did win, I think her thought was, oh no, what did you just drag me into? Now I'm going to have to do something. You have just forced me to do work, and I don't like doing work. Hey, look, I don't blame her. I don't like doing work either. Okay. So look, in response to that, she had to do something. So, well, she took up the campaign of anti-bullying, which would be great. I'm against bullying. I'm not in favor of, bullying people or kids bullying people. And so, yeah, well, totally. Yeah, be best, right? Be best. Great. Now, it didn't work out because considering how the Trump administration came to be with lots of bullying people and what her husband is known for and how her husband even started her campaign, well, that entire thing was, of course, doomed to fail. It wasn't going to work out. It was going very poorly, and it would continue to go very poorly. And so you can't really run an anti-bullying campaign when your husband is like the biggest bully in the country. It doesn't work, especially when your husband also simultaneously plays a victim, which is hilarious. Doomed from the start. Doomed from the start. So back to the article, right? The attention Biden has been getting has not gone unnoticed by Trump, say those who know her, though she is lamenting the media focus on her successor. Meaning, oh man, the media is writing all these wonderful pieces about Joe Biden. Why didn't anybody write any wonderful things about me? And it makes me go back to the interview that she had, or not interview, sorry. She has famously had a lack of interviews, and that's part of this. But the conversation that she had with Stephanie Walcott Williams, I believe, was her former friend. And so she was talking with her, and she's like, well, I could go to Fox News and they would write positive things about me, but I don't want to go to Fox News because she knows Fox News is nothing but, propaganda essentially. And no matter what she says, no matter what happens, she's going to get a positive interview. And that's kind of boring when you think about it. And so, all right. Now, going back to the article, as I said, Trump had turned down similar offers from national publications, including Fox News, throughout her time as First Lady, according to people who work closely with her. When presented with offers and asks for participation, it was Trump who would not want to do them. In 4 years, she had never did an interview with a national publication. And so, again, that's contrary to what Joe Biden has been doing so far. So that's interesting to me for a couple of reasons. For one, I think Melania liked playing victim just as much of her husband. I mean, come on. Her husband loves playing victim. She likes playing victim. Again, listen to the entire thing where she didn't give a crap about Christmas decorations for the kids, right? She's just like, I gotta put up these Christmas decorations. I don't really want to. Hey, again, I don't blame you. I also wouldn't want to put up Christmas decorations, but I'm not the first lady, or in my case would be the first man, which, you know what? You suck it up and you kind of do it because that's a political, whether you like it or not, it's a political position that carries influence. And I'm sorry, that's kind of what's expected of you. You want to, be in the White House. You got to do like something. You got to do the job. And she didn't want to do the job because she never asked to do the job. Her husband just kind of dragged her into it. And not that I feel bad for her, but I think that's the situation, right? And so, again, now that she's out and no longer has those people asking for her, to do those pieces, now she's suddenly jealous about it. And that's really weird, okay? She's not getting positive press or getting asked for it, while Joe Biden is absolutely getting the positive press. And so she's, getting mad. She's getting mad, big mad about it. Big mad. So, and yet, again, according to former Melania senior advisor, Winston Wolkoff, she now is regretting. She's having some regrets, all right? Big regrets. Quote, this is from Wolkoff explaining, Melania intentionally didn't do press as a defense mechanism. She added, that seems unfair, but typical to blame everyone else. So she made the decision, and now she's mad because she made the wrong decision, but she's not blaming herself. She's blaming the press, which have been, which in her opinion, estimation, would have been unfair to her anyway. She also added, everyone knows Melania Trump does what she wants when she wants, and not one staffer on her team could have done anything else to change that. True. apparently even Donald Trump was more upset about Melania not getting magazine covers than Melania was. She just didn't want to do anything. During her time there, she didn't want to do anything. So why would she be jealous and bitter now? Just because she's not, she had the chance, she gave it up, and she doesn't want to take personal responsibility. That's me. That's my read of it. And so, that's the situation. Not doing well. Very bitter man. But totally self-inflicted as usual when it comes to the Trumps. All right. Moving on. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley wants you to know that she is real sorry about Trump. Okay. Well, this is interesting. I mean, oh, wow. Made a big mistake. Didn't see that one coming. Had no idea it was fascist. Wow. Oops. Sorry. Okay, let me give you the real, the real quotes here. This comes from an interview with Politico's Tim Alberta. Now, in it, Haley said that she didn't think that Trump would be a significant figure in the Republican Party going forward. And she admitted that it was a mistake for the GOP to help him in his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. So now that's really interesting. Okay. So there's a couple of parts to this, which I think are pretty fascinating. For one, Trump being a significant figure in the GOP. I actually want to talk about that later, but let's get to the Republicans helping him part. Okay. Because I think that's really interesting because you have the impeachment trial going on right now, and you have a lot of Republicans, including 197 House Republicans, saying, we're not going to hold Trump accountable at all for anything that he's done. We are not going to convict. In fact, we think that this impeachment trial is bad. We are not in favor of it. All right. So now here's what she said about Trump. Quote, he went down a path he shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have followed him. And we shouldn't have listened to him. And we can't let that ever happen again. Well, now the big question, of course, is who's we? Who's the we? Because as far as I can tell, the vast majority of the Republican Party is still going down that road right now. And they're not at all ashamed of going down that road. So that is interesting, right? Because right now I can see that they're going to very, very likely acquit Donald Trump. I know that. Y'all know that. She knows that. I mean, come on. Donald Trump is not going to be held accountable for anything that he has done. So to me, her words seem pretty hollow, okay? Especially what she says next. Now, Haley insisted in the interview that while she was proud of the work she had done, she said that after the election happened and he had lost, something had fundamentally changed in him. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Haley insisted in the interview that, quote, I am deeply disturbed by what happened to him. Never did I think he would spiral out like this. I don't feel like I know who he is anymore. The person that I worked with is not the person that I have watched since the election. So basically, who is this guy? I don't know. He's not acting like himself. Man. Now, from that statement, all I can conclude is that either Nikki Haley is blind or completely blind, or she just wasn't paying attention at all for the entire time that Trump was president. Or maybe, just too busy plotting out her lucrative post-Trump career. Now, to be fair, of course, Nikki Haley has criticized Trump before. True. But honestly, there's no way she could not have known who he was, who this guy is. I mean, it's fairly obvious to anyone. We could tell, I could tell, anybody paying attention knew that Donald Trump was proto-fash. Okay? And of course, Republicans, every time you say that, Republicans will, come on here and be like, oh, come on, man, you're just being hyperbolic. I mean, besides, we all knew who the real Nazi was, Obama. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. You're talking ridiculous nonsense. And by the way, that is a thing that happened. I'm not being hyperbolic about this. Republicans have made way too many Obama-Hitler comparisons. I'm serious. And so, just to give notable examples, Glenn Beck, Louis Gohmert, Paul Brown, the list goes on and on. And not to mention numerous Fox News hosts making those comparisons. And so, in reality, though, we know who we know who's been flirting with fascism, and that is the far right. Now, the problem for people like Nikki Haley, though, is that, for one, an actual fascist takeover wouldn't end up well for her. All right? Nikki's not even a real name. Okay? Secondly, of course, being tied to Donald Trump is not good for your career. It turns out it's kind of toxic, being, related to this at all. And if Nikki Haley is anything, Nikki Haley is a careerist. So, of course, she's going to distance herself from this, and now she's coming up with, in my opinion, just laughable excuses like, oh, who could have seen that one coming? I mean, come on. Oh, he changed so much that I don't even recognize him. And she's doing that in order to save her own career, or what's left of it. And I'm not buying it. You shouldn't buy it either. You can if you want, but I'm certainly wary of all Republican politicians who have supported Trump, and I still am. I'm wary of the entire Republican Party. So, speaking of that, by the way, yesterday's show, I actually talked about how 2/3 of Republicans would follow Trump if he ran as a third-party candidate. So if he broke off and he decided he was going to run his own third-party candidacy, create his own political party, I don't know, the Freedom Party, the Trump Party, whatever, that a lot of Republicans, 2/3 of Republicans, would at least consider joining. I know he has got 1/3 of all Republicans 100% behind him, and another third that is possibly could go over. I mean, the Republican Party is the party of Donald Trump at this point. So if you don't think that he's got lasting party power within the GOP, and that he is going to continue to be relevant in GOP politics, you're wrong. They're enthralled. They're enthralled to him. The voters are enthralled to him, and the politicians, as a result, are as well. Even without Twitter, Trump finds a way to get his message across, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. As much as people like Nikki Haley believe that it will, especially, as I said, if the Senate does not choose to convict, and I don't think that they will. They're going to open the door for Trump to run again, and if he somehow wins, which would be insane to think about, then he's going to have free reign, because, he knows that he's going to be able to get away with anything. What are laws anymore? And it's not like this is even a criminal trial. This is a political trial, and they still can't say, we want to hold Trump accountable. And people like Nikki Haley, for her, part in this, she's going to sit there and publicly wonder how any of this could have happened. In reality, she knows. She knows. We all know. All right. Oh, of course, he's not going to do any of the work of actually building a third party. But they don't care. Again, facts don't matter to them. They never do. All right. Moving on. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, has seen better days. Now, following his ousting from social media, he's no longer on Twitter, and likely soon to be the coming lawsuit by Dominion Voting Systems, Lindell is he's not doing well, as he still deals with his overdose of copium after Donald Trump not only lost the election, but has also been impeached for inciting a Capitol insurrection. That insurrection, of course, led to the death of 6 people. Police have committed suicide as a result of their ordeal, which was spurred on, of course, by conspiracies of voter fraud. Theories spread by Trump, Newsmax, OAN, Steve Bannon, numerous Republican politicians, and of course, Mike Lindell. So now Lindell, he's got this bombshell, right? So he made this movie, and he's like, "Oh, I've got the proof. I got the proof of the fraud, right?" And so he's going to talk to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, he's back. He has a podcast or something, and so he's going to talk about this. And it ended up being an absolute train wreck. Watch.
Yeah. Now this picture here, everyone's got to realize. I knew nothing. Can we? I'm sorry. Start that over. All right, I'll just keep talking. Okay. So what you're seeing here is a picture of the president before he was president. This
great start. Wow. Awesome. I mean, I don't know if he realized that it was live or not, but he's like, could I start over? Can I do it? No. You know what? Do it live. All right, do it live. If you mess up, you keep on going. That is the first rule of doing live shows. If you mess it up, you plow through it, man. Plow through it. Fuck it. Just do it live. We're doing it live. Oh, my gosh. You know what's funny and also kind of devastating? So I realize, like, most of you have been watching the show for years, but I may have some younger viewers now, members of Generation Z. Hi, how you doing? They might have no idea where that even comes from. The fuck it, we'll do it live. That's amazing. I mean, look, Bill O'Reilly, and that's where that comes from. Bill O'Reilly has only been off the air for like 3 years, about 4 years, 2017, right? After these, sexual harassment lawsuits. And Bill O'Reilly had been on the air for a very, very long time. That clip happened in 2008 when he was working for Inside Edition. Oh my God. That's an old reference. Old reference. But anyway, all right. The interview, getting back to that, I know that's a weird aside, but the interview does not get much better. It gets, I mean, I can't even say that it gets more coherent. Just take a look and judge for yourself.
That's nothing for what's happened to you over the last couple of weeks.
And back then, what was so bad? Back then, he's attacking me for the myoleander.com. He's attacking me for something. All these things I was doing was just good things. What was wrong with that? And now you take all 3 of those times, multiply it by 10, and then times it again by 10. This is what's happening right now to me, to my company, to my family, to my you name it. To me personally, they're going after my reputation. They're boycotting. I mean, it's just across the board. Social media has. I mean, Twitter's taken me down, and my company. Google's suppressed my AdWords. I can't even buy my own name. I get to buy an AdWord. After spending $20,000 last Friday when this absolute proof came out, I was kept bidding on my own name against nobody. Finally, it got up to $1 a click if somebody wanted to find it, and they shut it down.
Homeboy spent $20,000 on his own name. Wow. Okay. All right. So substantively, you notice how we said myoleander.com, right? I remember doing a segment on this a while ago when that came up. This, again, sort of the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. And what he was doing is he was marketing this oleander extract as a cure for COVID-19. Yep. Now, of course, it's not. It's nowhere near it. And so, look, pretty sure that hawking ineffective cures is not only incredibly harmful, but actually dangerous and life-threatening. Oleander extract, as I said, is incredibly toxic to both humans and animals. And so, you know, yeah, there's the harm in that. So maybe there's a good reason to, you know, take that site down and to go after him for it. Because, again, taking his advice and buying his products literally could kill you. Just saying. It could kill you. So that said, I've got another video here. One more. This is Lindell, because the whole reason that he's on this podcast is he's trying to explain in a very haphazard way, like why he is right, and why he's got the proof. He's got the proof, and they're crushing me. They're crushing me down because I'm just trying to tell the truth about what happened in the election. And he's going to talk about his two miracles that he found, which somehow includes as a miracle Donald Trump losing. It should try to make sense of this one.
What I want to talk about, the two miracles that I brought up here, is the first miracle was the night of the election. At 11:15, it broke the algorithms in the machine, and because they didn't expect Donald Trump would get millions more votes than what they predicted. By doing that, they didn't have enough track left to do the steal, because he would have won anyway. But by them breaking that, everybody had to go into reactionary mode. So you see these big deviations, this big spike in Michigan, and Arizona taking a week to count the last 1%, and Georgia taking who knows how long. These were all deviations. But so that's miracle number one. If that didn't happen, we would have never known about the machines. Now the second miracle is this. All these stats you see of the dead people and all these on the board here, let's just say that they're 100% accurate. Donald Trump would win, and he would have been put back into place as the rightful winner. But I'm saying that I'm glad he didn't, because if he did, we would have never known. The big gorilla in the room is the machines that would have stole our elections forever.
The big gorilla in the room. And no, he's not talking about Steve Bannon. If that didn't make sense to you, you're not alone. Because that was just, I mean, it was pure nonsense. Just nothing. The big gorilla. They stole our elections forever, and it's so good that Donald Trump didn't win, because then we found out the truth, which was actually not the truth. Because everybody is saying that, you know, that Donald Trump didn't win the election, and it's true, but it's because it was stolen from him, and then I've got the machines and all that stuff. Okay, all right, whoa. You're going to tie yourself into a pretzel, like a logic pretzel. It makes no sense. All right. I mean, what in the stream of random thoughts and BS do you even come to a point which makes sense? I don't know. There's nothing there. Mike Lindell is so far down the rabbit hole that he's never going to find his way back out again. And it's sad, because the negative effects that he is going to suffer, and again, in his business, his personal life, his reputation is basically in tatters, right? It's so sad throwing all of that away on a lie, on Donald Trump specifically. That is so incredibly sad. Super, super sad. And by the way, again, he talks about the machines, right? Well, probably shouldn't do that, because Dominion, a spokesperson from Dominion, recently told reliable sources that Lindell is, quote unquote, begging to be sued. And at some point, we may well oblige him. Keep digging that hole, Mike. Oh, keep digging that hole. You're not gonna like where you end up. Okay. All right. So that's the fun stuff. I'm gonna take a break. We're going to come back. We've got the allegations against Andrew Cuomo for his handling of the coronavirus. Really, really disastrous story. And then, why is the Biden administration defending Betsy Devos? Prepares for some rage. All right. We're going to do that right after this break. Super chats, always welcome. Of course, I'm going to thank some people on Twitch as well. And read some comments. So stay right here. Be back in a minute around the nation.
Amazing.
Masturbate all day long.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff Waldorf here with you. So, let me thank some people over on Twitch here. I want to thank Biden took my food stamps for the follow. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And Crazy Hawaiian and PA with the tier 1 subscription at 3 months. Thank you. Thank you for helping me by giving me those Bezos bucks. You can subscribe with Prime over on Twitch. Again, it helps us out. And if you're watching us on YouTube or if you're watching us on Facebook, please give us a follow. Very, very, again, appreciative of you when you do that. All right. Let's do it. Let's jump into some disastrous COVID news. Hold on here. Okay, so I am reading the chat here. Let's see. Pillow Guy and Donnie do blow all the time. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. I just saw something here. Your call is important to us. Your call is very important to us. Thank you. Much appreciated. We will get to you in the order that you... we will serve you in the order that you were called. Okay, anyway. Just trying to give people a better viewing experience during the breaks, you know, to give you something to listen to, you know, nice, smooth. All right. Now we go into a little bit of rage. Governor Andrew Cuomo and his top aides are facing some allegations that they had covered up the scope of the death toll in the state's nursing homes from the coronavirus. So these are very serious allegations. The latest revelations come in the wake of private remarks by the governor's top aide, Melissa DeRosa, and a series of new reports and court orders that have nearly doubled the state's official toll of nursing home deaths in the last 2 weeks. So now, understand, like I said, there are disastrous numbers. And if true, if all of this, you know, they do an investigation, they continue to find more deaths attributable to political decisions that Cuomo had made, there needs to be serious consequences. All right. In a conversation first reported by the New York Post, yeah, I know, the New York Post, but it's been verified through the New York Times and other outlets, Ms. DeRosa told a group of top lawmakers on Wednesday during a call to address the nursing home situation that, quote, basically we froze after being asked last summer for information by the Trump administration's Department of Justice. So they were looking into this. And look, understand that this has been reported by right-wing media a lot. They've been jumping on this story. And I get why. I see why. This is a serious story. Now, at the time, the governor's office was simultaneously facing requests from the state legislature for similar information. This is, again, bipartisan. They were saying, hey, we need this information, okay? We need to find out how many people have died in these nursing homes as a result of what Governor Cuomo had ordered. So now she said, we were in a position where we weren't sure if what we were going to give the Department of Justice or what we give to you guys and what we start saying was going to be used against us, and we weren't sure if there was going to be an investigation. Now, understand that if there was an investigation, it would have been headed up by the Trump Justice Department. But that doesn't really matter at this point because these allegations are incredibly serious because, again, thousands of people had died as a result. So now, I guess the whole point here is that Cuomo is being accused of lying, covering up, so that they wouldn't face political ramifications or a political investigation, because apparently their careers and the political narrative were more important to them than the people who were dying. And that's super disgusting. More than 10,000 New Yorkers have died in these nursing homes during the pandemic as a result. Now, lawmakers, of course, on both sides jumped on this. And again, here's the thing. The right wing, yes, I mentioned that they've been all over this story, right? they've been pointing out how disastrous Cuomo has handled the coronavirus in his state, and that's true. And that is true. He's handled this very, very badly. But I always get this sneaky suspicion whenever I see Republicans, doing the right thing, trying to hold Democrats accountable, which they should. Everybody should. I always feel it out. I always feel it like it's done disingenuously for political reasons. And so understand, and this is what I hate, right? I hate whataboutism. So understand that what I'm going to say is going to sound a lot like whataboutism. And that's not the point, okay? It's kind of to point out how Republicans tend to be disingenuous about this, because the Trump administration itself has also downplayed numbers. Trump has downplayed coronavirus, and you have Florida, right? You have Florida under DeSantis, right? That fired Rebecca Jones, who was a data analyst who would put up coronavirus numbers, who designed the website to give you accurate coronavirus information. DeSantis sent goons to harass her and harassed her while she was trying to put out accurate coronavirus numbers. So now the reason DeSantis did this was to open a state. And I think what Cuomo had been doing was also along a similar, similar lines, I think. I think the motivation was to hide numbers, to make it not seem as bad, because not only does it look bad politically for Cuomo or for any politician that would do it, but also it would prevent you from being able to open up the state. That's what I see. And again, this is, and I hate to do the both sides thing on this, but it's kind of both sides. I mean, downplaying the numbers so that the businesses could open up, so that your state could, of course, get revenue. I think part of that is, at least thanks to the Trump administration being rather hands-off when it came to giving aid and to these states, and not allowing Congress to pass state aid, Republicans in Congress. But again, there is the both sides, right? Gavin Newsom now trying to open up the state, been trying to open up the state before, even though the numbers in California have been absolutely disastrous. And so, again, sadly, both sides, not good. So let's get into more details. Now, the revelation of Mr. Rose's remarks comes 2 weeks after a damning report from Letitia James, who is New York's Attorney General. She accused the Cuomo administration of undercounting coronavirus-related deaths connecting to the nursing homes by the thousands. The report forced the state's health department to make public more than 3,800 previously unreported deaths of residents who died outside a facility, like in a hospital, and had not been included in the state's official nursing home tally. Since then, the number of deaths connected to New York nursing homes and long-term care facilities has only ballooned to about 15,000 confirmed and presumed deaths from 12,743 in late January, as of this week. Now, the administration released the latest figures as a result of a court order following a 6-month battle between the Cuomo administration and the Empire Center. So now the Empire Center is a conservative think tank, which requested a full accounting of nursing home deaths under the state's Freedom of Information law. So understand that they actually did do the right thing. So they were looking into the coronavirus deaths in the nursing homes. And so in order to get a full accounting of what's going on, whether it be so that they can use it as a political cudgel, understand that if you do something like this, if you do what Cuomo had done, well, you deserve the consequences. And while that was going on, right, the undercounting, Cuomo, after receiving massive donations from hospital groups, actually signed legislation that would quietly shield hospitals and nursing home executives from the threat of lawsuits stemming from coronavirus, the outbreak. And so the provision, which is explained by David Sirota of the Daily Poster, was inserted into an annual budget bill by Cuomo aides and created one of the nation's most explicit immunity protections for healthcare industry officials, according to legal experts. Now, if you are mad at the Trump administration trying to do immunity for corporations, then you should probably be furious as well at the Cuomo administration in New York for doing the same thing. He actually got it done and protected these companies, these executives, after receiving millions of dollars in political donations to make them immune from liability for all of these additional deaths. That is corruption, and that should make you furious. And by the way, in March of last year, and again, I've seen a lot of this reported in right-wing media, the Cuomo administration issued an order, and it absolutely happened, that allowed nursing homes to readmit sick patients without COVID-19 testing. So they are sick, doesn't matter, they could have coronavirus, I don't know, throw them back in there anyway. And of course, people in nursing homes happen to be the most, vulnerable, not only to the virus, but in general, because they're the least, they're the most powerless. And so this is a situation that's going on here. It's disgusting. And of course, this is amid allegations of undercounted casualties. The governor also pushed back against pressure to have state regulators more stringently record and report death rates in those nursing homes. So shove them back into the nursing homes, they die, and then he says, we're going to not do regulation. And yet Cuomo is upheld in the media as some kind of hero. Absolutely. And it's disgusting. And we know what Cuomo wants. Cuomo is a political creature. Cuomo wants to run for president in the next election, or maybe the next one, 2024, who knows? And so it is disgusting, and it's unacceptable, and people need to be held accountable, and the people at the top need to be held accountable as well. I mean, are we going to see a situation where it's, oh no, he passes the buck down to the aides, and it's the aides, they're the ones who ultimately made these decisions. I didn't have anything to do with it. And so they're going to get punished while Cuomo continues to be held up as some sort of hero for coronavirus. I hope that's not what happens. I want to see some sort of justice, and understand that, by the way, yes, while right-wing media did break the story, and it's been corroborated by outlets like the New York Times, who's finally reporting on it, and you've got anger coming from both sides of the aisle. Politicians, Republican and Democratic politicians in New York are going after him and trying to take him to task. They've been trying to for months, but I don't know what's going to happen. I have to say that, if you're a liberal and you're somebody who holds up Cuomo to some really high, regard, and are not taking this story, I wouldn't say take it at face value, but even after looking into this, you say, Republican right-wing hit job, right? Understand that, if you're going to try to hold Trump accountable, which I think we should, for the, many deaths that he caused under coronavirus by not doing anything, well, then we sure as hell also, in order to be consistent, to hold Cuomo accountable as well, because he knew the numbers, he made the decision, and his office had covered this up. I don't give a damn what party you're in, all right? It's wrong what DeSantis and Trump tried to hide the numbers, right? And it's wrong that Cuomo did as well. And so now we have evidence that they both did. And now everyone needs to be held accountable that, caused these deaths. All right. To move on, let's go to our last story, also enraging. The Biden administration is defending former Education Secretary Betsy Devos over a lawsuit that is alleging the Department of Education had illegally collected student loan payments from students who had been defrauded by for-profit colleges. So now, you heard that right, the Biden administration is defending Betsy DeVos. So now DeVos who is no longer the defendant in the lawsuit since she resigned from office back on January 7th, is now fighting to block a subpoena that is seeking her deposition on February 25th in that case. And now the Biden administration has signed on to defend her from being deposed. So what happened? Well, let me give you kind of a timeline. All right. So now these for-profit colleges basically, literally scam students into borrowing thousands of dollars for what ended up being completely useless degrees. The degrees were not worth anything. They weren't worth the paper that they were printed on because the colleges didn't go through the proper accreditation. But these colleges, in order to get the sweet student loan money from the government, would lie about job placement and lie about statistics and success rates, things like that, lie about, how the students would be able to use their degrees once they had spent this money and went through those programs. And at the end of the day, these students ended up being stuck with degrees that they couldn't actually use. So now the Obama administration had shut these for-profit colleges down. And what they did was create a program to forgive the student loans of people who ended up being defrauded by these colleges. And so student loan forgiveness, you don't have to pay the loans if you're, went to one of these colleges that had basically cheated you. All right, so that happened under Obama. Well, later on, Trump gets into office, appoints Betsy Devos. Betsy Devos, of course, bought this seat, and she created a program that would, basically roll back what Obama had done. So now she slow walks, the efforts to allow these students to go and not pay on these defrauded loans, but also starts taking payments again from these students who had been defrauded, even for money that they don't owe. So now they had garnished these students' paychecks, despite a federal judge ordering her to stop collecting on these loans, and they even ended up charging her with contempt of court. So that kind of shows you how unbelievably evil this woman is. I mean, here she is, right? She's got court orders telling her to stop. Okay, the administration before was like, hey, we forgave these loans. Stop collecting on them. And she's like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because she loves for-profit colleges, her friends in the for-profit college industry, her family, and she also likes making poor people pay. She likes poor people. Not in favor, right? So now this is while she literally owns like 10 yachts. It's not like she needed the money from her for-profit college friends. But anyway, she keeps doing that. So now that's disgusting. So why is the Biden administration protecting this? Why are they protecting her from facing a deposition? Even though they're saying that they're going to reverse what Betsy DeVos had done and bring it back to what it was like under Obama and allow these students to no longer pay on these debts they don't owe, to forgive their debt. Well, let me get to more details about that. So on Monday, the former Education Secretary's personal attorney, Jesse Panuccio, was joined by the Justice Department in a filing seeking to dismiss the motion set by, or asked by the people who are plaintiffs in this case that are trying to get her on the stand to do a deposition. These plaintiffs' demand for a former cabinet official's deposition, they say, is, quote, extraordinary, unnecessary, and unsupported. This was a joint statement by her personal lawyer and the Trump DOJ. I'm sorry, the Biden DOJ. Not only this, but they said of the plaintiffs, these students that are suing, it is a transparent attempt at harassment, part of a PR campaign that has been central to plaintiffs' litigation strategy from the outset. Yeah. Now, Brian Boynton, by the way, Brian Boynton is the one who signed on with Panuccio. So now he is the acting assistant attorney general in the Biden administration. And Boynton, you're not going to be surprised to find out, is a friend to for-profit colleges. Boynton was up until recently a partner at the DC law firm Wilmer Hale, where he represented multiple corporate clients, including a lot of for-profit colleges. Now, Boynton represented the for-profit colleges' main trade association, the APSCU, now called the CECU, which at the time included many of the most notorious predatory for-profit college operations, including Corinthian Colleges, EDMC, ITT Tech, Kaplan, Career Education Corporation, DeVry, Bridgepoint, ATI, and Fast Train College, all of which in the past decade have been under investigation or taken to court by law enforcement agencies for deceptive practices. In 2010, Boynton was lead counsel for APSCU in a Supreme Court brief supporting the argument of another predatory for-profit college, the University of Phoenix, to weaken protections for investors who wanted to file class action lawsuits against for-profit colleges for securities fraud. Interesting. Boynton and Panuccio have so far argued the plaintiffs looking for DeVos' deposition have not made a case the former secretary's testimony is essential. Why is it not? She was literally the head of the Department of Education during this time. She was setting the policies that were in favor of for-profit colleges. Why would you not have her deposed? Why would you not have her answer the questions? Why? Why protect her? Why protect her? And of course, as I mentioned, they called this attempt a harassment and PR campaign. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, stop. Leave her alone. Leave Betsy alone. No, this is ridiculous. We need to find out why she decided to ignore judges' orders, okay? And why she continued to steal money from people to pay for debts that they no longer owe or no longer should owe. And you know why? I mean, thanks to the Biden administration, we know why, right? They're all part of the club. And that's what it is. They're part of the club. And it's a big club, and you ain't in it. Now, remember, also, Biden hasn't exactly been a friend to student loan borrowers, okay? Biden originally wrote the bankruptcy bill that prevented you from discharging student loan debt through bankruptcy. So, I mean, come on. Biden's not going to do a whole lot for you when it comes to student loan debt. If you're a borrower and you've been defrauded, he's not really going to help you all that much. All right. And I know the plan is, of course, for the Biden administration to forgive $10,000 of student loan debt. Well, we're going to cancel that. Maybe. $10,000. Okay, but that's not going to do anything. Biden right now, today, with the stroke of a pen, could cancel all of it. Cancel all student debt. I mean, look, Chuck Schumer is more progressive than Biden on this, where he's saying, well, let's do 50,000. And Biden's like, maybe we'll do 10,000. Yeah, maybe. So you can tell that his priorities are not to help struggling students. But of course, it seems like his priorities is to continue helping the banks and big corporations. Completely unacceptable. Enraging. All right. Let's see. Super chat here, I believe, from Mr. Sushi. Let me read that. Hey, Jeff, am I the only one who thinks Tucker Carlson could have a good chance of president if Biden keeps this crap up? Biden has been terrible so far. Man. I would hate to think about that. But I mean, a fake populist on the right that actually might be competent. Oof. I'd hate to think because again, the Democrats have proven that they're not ready to take on an actual competent faux populist on the right. And I say faux populist because right wingers, will claim and pretend to be populist, but really, again, it's a fake populism. It's really more demagoguery, what we saw, with Donald Trump, but actually, I don't know, delivered in a smart way, in a way that doesn't trip up the more liberals, of the base, like the people that aren't paying attention. You know what I mean? And so it is one of those things where it can be very, very dangerous, where you can get a right-wing demagogue who actually is smart enough to cloak his fascism easy enough, well enough to get into power and to take over and do it in a way where people don't notice until it's too late. Or I should say the vast population doesn't know until it's too late. And that is incredibly scary. Super, super scary. So, anyway, Biden has been a mixed bag so far, surprisingly good in some ways, but the bad things are pretty bad. Fair, absolutely. And the thing that's frustrating enough, that we're seeing on at least when it comes to a rhetorical level, is the fight over the $1,400 checks. Again, there was the promise of $2,000 checks, $2,000, and then later on it's like, oh, well, actually it's to build on the $600 that Trump already gave you. We're going to give you $1,400. But you realize then you're crediting Trump with the $600, which happened under the Trump administration, and then also for the $1,200, well, that's $1,800. Well, that means that Trump gave you more at this point. Now, again, assuming that they don't do another check, which they might, possibly, later on, well, then the Republicans can go into the midterm saying, well, who promised you a $2,000 check and only gave you $1,400 where we gave you $1,800? Not good. Again, from a rhetorical standpoint, that's disastrous. Absolutely disastrous. So I would really, really be concerned. Again, when it comes to aid, COVID aid, for example, you can't go too low. I'm sorry, you can't go too high. You could definitely go too low, which is exactly what we're doing. You can't go too high. We need to go high, and we need to go bolder. All right. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very helpful if you do that. Thank you to you all on Twitch and on YouTube. Twitch, let's see. Do we want to raid into somebody? Let's see. Well, it depends. Do y'all want to see Tiffany play Resident Evil? Or head over to the Surfs. That's your decision here. Tiffany, of course, super based. A lot of you may remember her as the Very Angry Gamer, who's an amazing, wonderful person. So you can check that out, or we can go and raid into the Surfs. Again, your decision. So, as far as anyone else is concerned, thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you all later.
There's some whores in this house.
Don't you want to please me?
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.